What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Austin Lewis here, coming to you guys with the man, the myth, an actual real live legend. Ladies and gentlemen, we have Edmund. Thank you so much, brother, for coming on the show. I know it was a little last minute, but obviously much love for you coming on, man. I know you're going to share some gems. I think you saw my Instagram story. It said that our conversation, I already got a few DMs. It's actually quite funny that our conversation is going to get quite juicy, man. And when I mean juicy, I mean this guy he's sharp. He's the sharpest tool in the shed, ladies and gentlemen. If you don't know who Edmund is, his link to his Instagram is going to be in the description below. The owner of Kumquat Energy. He's drinking his own energy drink, as you guys can see there. And of course, he's repping the t-shirt as well. So it's crazy. I met Edmund in 2017, all the way back to the network marketing days. And dude, the growth that I've seen of you, I mean, dude, you're first and foremost, you were an animal then. Like now, like I don't even know, they can't even keep you at the zoo, my guy. You know what I mean? Like you can't be contained, bro. So ladies and gentlemen, if you haven't already, make sure and smash the thumbs up button, because Edmund needs a lot of love, man, because this thing, what he's going to share with you guys is going to be absolutely insane. If you guys are brand new here, also subscribe for the channel, because it does in fact help the YouTube algorithm, and your boy needs some help, as we all know. So Edmund, brother, thank you so much for coming on the pod, bro.
Pleasure to be here, Austin. Thanks for having me.
Of course, dude. What watcher you are?
This is a green-faced Daytona nicknamed John Mayer.
There you go, brother. I love it. So let's get into some juicy things here, right? I mean, you're originally from Paris?
Yeah, born and raised Paris, France. Came to America when I was 12 years old. Portland, Oregon. Grew up in a very average middle class, lower middle class household. Stepdad is a Korean American herbalist, has a few practices as a naturopathic doctor, making 150 grand a year. And I just got a completely different taste of life. My father in Paris was very affluent, and then I just moved to good old Portland, Oregon.
Yeah.
And I'm so grateful to speak English. And even though I'm still a French citizen, I have a green card and a French passport, I feel like America is my country, and I feel very fortunate, very grateful to be here.
I love it, dude. Well, obviously, from somebody that's coming from out of country into America, obviously everybody knows that's not easy, especially with a family that isn't massively balling, right? And trying to learn a new language. Did you learn English before you came here, or did you learn it while you were here?
No, I didn't speak any English, and it didn't make it any easier. I went to French American school, and every class was in French. There was one class a day of English. Didn't understand anything. All the kids were kind of laughing, and it took me quite a while to learn English. I was able to speak it relatively quickly, but as far as reading and writing, even going into high school, that was challenging for me.
Insane. And now you speak 4 languages, or have you increased since I originally met you?
Well, I did speak Spanish. I grew up speaking French and Spanish, so reading and writing in both those languages, I was able to do when I came to America.
Yeah.
English is the one that we added to the arsenal.
Okay, for sure. So you only speak 3, or you speak 4?
I just speak 3.
Okay, you just speak 3. Okay. I just remember being in Miami, and you were speaking some, I think you were speaking probably Spanish. I'm just like, oh my God, 1 second he's talking to this individual in, English. And then second after that.
A lot of French speakers in Miami too, actually.
A lot of French. Okay, yeah. And in Hong Kong too, right? Wasn't there a lot of, or am I completely out of this mind? French.
There's a little bit of everything in Hong Kong, yeah.
For sure. And I feel like French has gotten so popular now maybe I'm just experiencing that, but I feel like the French language has definitely got a lot more popular than what I guess 16-year-old me realized.
Yeah, I would say, your Spanish you're going to use all the time. It's like the second language of America. French is more of a romantic language, and some people love it. I personally don't use it a whole lot, except when I speak with family, of course.
Yeah, for sure. And so does your family speak specifically in French?
Yeah, my mom and I speak in French, and then my stepdad and the guy who really raised me, who I really thank for just taking me under his wing and raising me, and he's just English.
English. Okay. That's fun. That's a little bit, no such thing as bad diversity. You know what I mean? I mean, that's always fun. Speaking French to your mom, speaking English to stepdad. That's awesome, dude. So this is cool. This is crazy. I got Edmund right in front of me, man. Not really literally, but you know what I mean, figuratively. So obviously I was a part of your journey in 2017, 2018, and I think potentially of a little bit of 2019. I don't 100% remember, right? So, you know, you went off and started doing solar, and solar's like, where would you say like you hit it the most big out of the industries that you've been doing recently?
Oh yeah, I didn't have any real success prior to solar. You know, I managed to sometimes make 20, 30 grand a month, but I never saw an actual six-figure month or even six-figure week
Yeah.
until I got into solar.
Into solar. That's insane. What is it with solar? What is it with solar that is so, I mean, you've I feel like, for example, right? You've turned solar into an industry that is sexy. Obviously, because you're a master at marketing, but what is it about solar that why did you get into solar? Like what piqued your interest about solar to begin with?
Yeah, million ways to make $1 million in America. This one felt good. Can lay your head on the pillow at night knowing that you're doing right by the homeowner, doing right by the planet, and you can get paid handsomely to do so. It's not like I started making all this money right out of the gates though. And you know, there was a lot of casualties along the way. There's a lot of times where I'm like, man, is all of this work worth it? And you know, my first year was 2019. I started in January 5th of 19, and I made $181,000 that year. For some people that might seem really good, but to put it into perspective, it was 7 days a week the first 5 months. It was living in a studio apartment, and it was constant 12, 18-hour days, and it was sacrificing my everything from my social life. You know, the I had I'd only gone back to Portland, Oregon 3 times.
Uh-huh.
Uh, the third time I went back to Portland, Oregon was 2021 in May for Mother's Day, when I bought 2 Ferraris in one day. But prior to that, you know, my parents would ask me to come back during the pandemic. You know, would ask me why I'm working so hard. A lot of my peers and previous relationships and friendships were like, "What are you doing out there in California? You're working too much." And and I feel like that's when you're maybe on the right track. You know, when people are wondering
Yeah.
what you're doing and why you're doing it, and you're not doing what 99% of people do. But my story in solar is not typical. The results aren't typical, and it's really something that I willed into existence.
100%. What would you say like a typical something for a typical individual that, for example, wants to come on board and join Kumquat Energy, right? Like what is a typical result that somebody, if they obviously put in the hard work, dedication, and blood, sweat, equity, and tears, what is something that, you know, they can get out of the solar industry?
Uh, I believe that solar is massively untapped. It's the modern day gold rush. It's the best opportunity out there. I truly believe that there's a nice 15, 20-year runway where you're going to be able to just do great business with incredible margins. But it's also an industry that's deregulated, and you know, 99% of people are going to do the bare minimum. They're going to be excited off of a five, six, seven, $8,000 commission. They're going to go on a 2-star vacation, and they're going to start working again when they have to. And so for that, you kind of just, you know, stay in the rat race of paying bills and living month to month. With that being said, if you have this like desire for more and you want to build a solid foundation and position yourself to be light years ahead and just win long term, you can hit any financial goal you want. I truly believe you'll see people make $1 million a month in solar.
That's insane. That's crazy. So obviously, let's talk about some juicy stuff too. Now, come on. Now. How many cars? What?
Nothing happens overnight, you know.
No,
so
100%. I mean,
it took me 26 months to have my first 6-figure month in solar, and what was interesting is from there it just skyrocketed.
Yeah.
During those 26 months, you have to act like you're already making $1 million a year plus, right? You have to act based on the results you want, not the ones you have. A lot of people think they'll start working hard once they start making 100, 200 grand a month, but you have to work hard long before. You kind of have to have this vision of identifying as someone that has those results long before they materialize. And your thoughts, your actions, your discipline, your goals, your sacrifice, all of it has to be aligned for you know that home run.
Yeah, 100%. Gems, baby. How many cars you got nowadays, bro?
A lot. Well, I actually sold the Rolls-Royce Dawn to fund part of Kumquat. So but then I picked up an Aston Martin DBS.
Yeah, which is so sexy. Sheesh.
Right, for Gold Rush Rally. So just have that and the Cullinan, which is the Rolls-Royce SUV.
Yep.
And then I still have my beautiful Prius. Yeah. Two Ferraris on order, the 296 GTS and then the Purissangue. I heard that they might pull the Purissangue and then just give you your deposit back.
Really?
Yeah.
Why do you think that is?
Only going to be so many of them. I mean, it's a huge come up, right? It's the last V8 twin turbo, you know, gas powered engine that Ferrari is going to make.
What is like the what is I mean, obviously you're not getting anything in MSRP, but like what is?
Oh yeah, no, I would, because you know, I've got the order for it. Actually, it's cool. It's right here.
Okay, this is gonna be good, ladies and gentlemen. This is gonna be good. He's got the order for this bad boy. That's kind of crazy.
This is
this stud.
So you have to, like, you know, sign off that you're not gonna like sell it to anybody for 2 years and blah blah blah.
Holy cow!
But yeah, we'll see. You know, it's a huge wait list. Probably won't get the 296, which is the next version of the F8 for another year and a half to 2 years. And I put the deposit on over a year ago. It was June of 2022.
That's insane. What is the V8 twin turbo? What is that MSRP go for?
Depends on the build out. They haven't even let me build it out. I built out the 296 and it came out to like almost $500,000. So it just depends how much carbon fiber you want.
Of course.
You know, you can even get the wheels carbon fiber, and then all the specs, the type of leather you want on the seats. I did Dyno Ferrari, which is their orange. All oranged out. It's pretty sick.
That's gangster, bro. So what's with orange and Kumquat? I gotta ask.
What's what?
What's with orange and Kumquat, right? Like I feel like that's you know, it's everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's a beautiful, bright, vibrant color.
Yeah.
It's kind of impossible not to smile or be somewhat happy when you see it. And you know, love it or hate it, you're gonna remember it. I believe branding beats sales 7 days out of 7. A lot of companies that make it big and actually hit the billions have a great brand that people resonate with and that people remember. And so I want a great brand and a marketing message, and I've been focused on that for quite a while now. And you know, we're out there selling clean energy, and a lot of sales guys are just pounding the pavement and just taking down Red Bulls and Monsters and Rockstars, and there's all these synthetic ingredients in those drinks and artificial flavors. So I wanted to make a drink that really gave you clean energy. You know, the worst thing we have in here is 4 grams of organic cane sugar. We've got caffeine from a leaf, not a lab, which is yerba mate. And over time, you eat a burger today, nobody cares. But over time, what you put in your body really matters. So
100%.
if I'm going to get, you know, energized, I want to make sure I know what I'm putting in my body.
100%, brother man, 100%. Let's talk about liabilities and assets here for a second. And the reason I want to ask you about this, just bring this up honestly, is just for the sake of, you have some beautiful cars. You know what I mean? You have a couple Ferraris on order. You've gone through a bunch of cars, obviously, in the last couple of years as well. And then you picked up quite a few watches. I mean, at least based off Instagram, right? How many watches do you own today?
A lot. I actually liquidated quite a few
Oh,
to start the business as well.
yeah,
But, I do believe investing in stainless steel sports watches is great. The trilogy would be Rolex, AP, and Patek, and you're not going to lose your money there. Once you get into precious metals like yellow gold, rose gold, white gold, platinum, um, you are going to be dealing with higher fluctuation. For example, a $5 million home could sell for 3 million overnight, right? They could
yeah,
also sell for 7, versus you invest in a $350,000 condo. How much higher or lower is it going to go? So your money is really safe in stainless steel Rolexes that are sports model, like a sub, a Daytona, a GMT. Your date just aren't really going to go up that much. And
yeah,
then the date, also nicknamed the presidential, that only comes in heavy metals. So for beginners out there, and for someone that's like first looking at a nice timepiece, it's actually cheaper to buy a Rolex, AP, or Patek than it is to buy another watch, in my opinion. Because if you go off and you buy what a lot of people buy, and maybe I'll get some backlash on this, you lose money right away, pretty much. You
yeah,
buy the right thing in the boutique, you're going to lose 60% on that watch.
yeah,
So for a couple $1,000 more, maybe you get your first Rolex from the boutique, and all of a sudden you're in the money, right? And
yeah.
and then it keeps going up every year. Daytonas have appreciated more than any other asset over the last 15 years. It's beat the S&P 500, and it's beat crypto. It's beat it all. So
Yeah,
I'm just talking stainless steel. I'm not. It is what it is.
100%. I love it.
You look at this watch, it's $38,000 retail. Most boutiques haven't even seen it, and it sells for 100 grand or more.
Yeah,
So it's not a bad come up.
not a bad gig. You know what I mean? I'll take one of those every day of the week. I love it, dude. What are your thoughts? I mean, obviously, I don't want to like get there, but I mean, I'm just curious. You know what I mean? From a guy that's successful, from a guy that's now owns his own solar company. You know what I mean? And I'm sure that you deal with a lot of it as well. I mean, what are your thoughts of like what's going on with like, like obviously I don't want to get too nitty gritty or like specific, but like government type shit, right? I don't know if you pay too much. Do you pay attention to the news at all? Do you pay attention to the government and what's going down and everything else, or not as much?
I try not to make it a daily thing in my life. Obviously, you hear and you're somewhat aware, but there's a lot of uncontrollables out there. So especially if you're on your way up and you're focused on producing, one of the worst things you can do is like be current and pay attention to everything else in the marketplace. You
Yeah,
want to have that tunnel vision. It's never been easier to become successful nowadays because of technology advances and access and information and everything. But it's also never been harder to become successful at the same time, because you've got $250 billion a day being spent on keeping you distracted, keeping you in fear, uncertainty, and doubt. And so you've got to be very mindful of what you consume, right?
100%, bro. 100%. I couldn't agree more.
I listen to my grandma in France. It's like China's taking over, the world's coming to an end, and we're done.
Yeah. For sure. You know what I mean? Yeah. I mean, some people, I mean, you got to be careful. I mean, especially with today's world, you know what I mean? I mean, you got to be really careful about what you put into your mind, what you put in, you know, what you see. I mean, I didn't even really realize that until, you know, I took a step back and I was like, holy cow, like some of the music I'm listening to is definitely it's wild, you know. When I actually listen to the lyrics, I'm like, this is kind of crazy, you know. And when I listen to, you know, a particular person talk, right, for example, like my father, I'm like, damn, like there's so many things that you say that like I never even knew when I was growing up that you said, that I'm just like absolutely blown away. But then again, you know, it's a subconscious mind. So you got to be definitely very weary about, you know, who you spend your time with, where you spend your time, and with whom you spend your time with and listening to and watching. You know what I mean? I think social media is one of the greatest platforms absolutely out there, but I also think it's one of the most scariest platforms out there because what you consume consumes you, you know? So kind of crazy. You living in Vegas still?
Yeah, Las Vegas,
Oh.
Nevada. Absolutely love it here.
Why Vegas?
Well, at first it was because I knew I was going to make at least a couple million in 2021, and I didn't want to pay 14% state tax to California.
Yeah.
Ended up giving it all to the strip, you know, to the casinos. But that was an incredible life experience, and learned a lot there.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a great place to network. For me, seeing an excess of success inspires me.
Yeah.
So I was able to like wake up in the morning, and even though I just made quarter of the month, I still got a lot to do. And then if you get away from the strip, you can have a pretty or not or an
Hold on, I'm losing you for a sec. 1 sec. You good?
Yeah, I'm here. Are you there?
Okay, cool. We lost you for a sec.
Oh yeah, it says internet connection is unstable.
Man, made couple million bucks, more than a couple million. Can't afford that good Wi-Fi.
Damn shame.
Sheesh, my guy. All right, so you gave it all to the casinos. You get inspired by. I heard a little bit of it, but you get inspired by just like the ruckus, the commotion, other people being successful. You made $250,000 that month. You still got up where you're fired up and everything else. Is that what Vegas is?
Yeah, Vegas will humble you, you know, real quick, especially when you live here and you get to experience more than just a weekend. You realize you have the most successful businessmen from all over the world that come in and celebrate, right? And most of them have just sold a company, or are just looking to get their yayas out. And
Yeah.
some of them, you know, even go off and gamble millions. You're like, wow, that's intense. So, but you can get away from the strip, you know. Now that it's out of my system, I only go there if people are in town and they want to experience a nice dinner.
Yeah.
And away from the strip, you can have a very nice, normal life. So huge fan of Vegas. I have a great group of friends here. It's a small town. Everybody knows everybody, and it's a great place to build a business, to have different trust, and to just live and potentially even raise a family.
Yeah, that's really cool, dude. What has been like your largest? You play blackjack, or what do you play?
I was really into roulette.
Okay, roulette.
I I decided I will not play in 2023, so I've left it all behind. But you know, I was a noir holder last couple years, which is the highest status you can have with MGM, and had a lot of fun with roulette. Lots of comps, lots of perks. But ultimately, you know, you're paying for all of that, right? It's
Yeah.
fun to play roulette if you're a millionaire and you don't care to blow off a couple $100,000. And I think any young man might want to have that experience. And once you get it out of your system, you're not trying to make more money for the casinos.
For sure, 100%. What has been like the most that you've lost in like a night? Or do you recall those nights?
Yeah, I've always limited myself, so I've never lost more than 20 grand in a night.
In a night.
Unfortunately, I've lost 20 grand in the night more times than I can count. But I've also, made that more times than I can count as well.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, don't gamble what you can't afford to lose. You know what I mean? So I
The
think
biggest spin I've ever done is 35 grand.
that is insane. And you won, obviously.
I made 17.5 on it.
That's crazy. What was the bet?
What was the bet?
Yeah, like what was
So only play a European table because it has 1-0
instead of two?
instead of two, so your odds are way better. Also, if you're playing colors, which is a sucker's bet, you're gonna get 50% of your money back if it lands on 0, versus a table on the floor would not give you that. And then I like to play 4, 5, 6, 7 neighbors, and at that point I was playing them by 500, and then we also had bets on the outside, but ended up hitting black 21, and we had 500 on it, got 17.5 back.
Hey, that's not a bad so yeah, you put in 35, plus got your 17, plus got an extra 17.5.
Yeah, we had money on the outside, and then the money maker was the 17.5 from the
That's cool.
from the wheel.
That's an adrenaline rush.
Yeah, and that's the thing, at first it was like an adrenaline rush to play numbers by $100, to play them by $200, but then you just keep pushing and pushing and pushing.
Yeah, 100%. Do you know who Millionaire Marco is?
Mm-mm.
Okay, sports better in Vegas. It's he's like, his name's literally Millionaire Marco on Instagram, because I don't think it's actually that. I think he had to change it because he got that verification. But they call him $1 million Marco because, and I say this in all my podcasts, because somehow money gets involved, or just like a bet or something, you won something or whatever. But he says that winning a sports bet, he's really famous for taking like, he'll do a $50,000 bet, post it on his Instagram, and then the next day, like obviously his Instagram has a couple 100,000 followers, a bunch of people will take the bet, and he'll bet 50 grand and he ends up winning $1 million. And he gave the bet away for free. Obviously he wins some and he loses some, just like everything, but he got like extremely famous from doing that. But he said it in a podcast one time, he said winning a sports bet is better than a nut. And I it's just like, I think that's just like a guy, like a man's thing, like the adrenaline that can come from, making $250,000 a month, or getting recognized on stage, or, winning a particular roulette bet, right, is like one of the best feelings that you could feel.
Yeah, it's very true. And to anybody that's out there that's like still looking for their big win and looking for what they're gonna do, where they're gonna, their definition of winning, which in the beginning can be, making your first 20,000 a month or 100,000 a month. And I'll be the first to tell you it's never good enough, right? I've gotten to a point where I'm making 100,000 on the last week of the month, and I want to make 100,000 every week, and then I want to make $1 million a month. And there's a lot of infinite energy there, where you're on top of the world and you're able to work all day. I believe there's a lot of energy behind money. Right? Imagine how you would act right now if somebody was going to deposit $100,000 into your bank account on Friday. Imagine how you now on any was 50K, right? All of a sudden, so many issues in your life and maybe your loved ones' lives are taken care of. So what do you do? Well, if you've never been there before, kind of like myself, you celebrate. You're like, this is awesome. You probably have some habits where you're not going to stop working. You're a machine, you're disciplined, you're going to get your work done. But then it's like, it's time to celebrate, baby. So I would go out to the strip and do the $3,000 to $5,000 dinners. And, being single, I had so many different young ladies, and just made a lot of friends and acquaintances. and hit all the nightclubs, and your health will take a toll. And so you want to be mindful of that. Don't think just because you're not tired per se. A lot of people used to be like, Edmund, how do you have all this energy? And it's like, well, I'm killing it. How do I not have all this energy?
For sure.
But it's not necessarily real energy, right? Especially when you inflate it with energy drinks and everything. So I think it's important to just have a little bit of balance, and to stay healthy, and to just kind of remind yourself how far you've climbed. And yeah, the point that I'm trying to get across to anybody that may be watching this is, when you hit it, don't go out and splurge and overindulge in extracurricular activities, because all of that will have consequences. Maybe not right away,
For sure.
but eventually there will come a point where you're just like exhausted.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, bro. Last thing I want to cover with you, just because obviously I know you're crazy busy, but is, and I'm really, really, obviously this is more for me than it is anybody else, to be honest with you, Mr. Edmund, but it's just the aspect of decisions. I've seen and realized, and like my take, this is like, you want to find out the shit that you don't know, right? Because you don't know what you don't know. Like, this is I don't know this. And I really want to find out from everybody that I potentially can, that I want to know what they have to say about this in terms of decisions. And when I say decisions, I'm going to elaborate here, and then I'll let you roll, and then we'll rock and roll. Is every decision you make makes you, right? We've all known that. We're well aware of that. Getting into a car extremely drunk, that was your decision that you made. And that little decision of you deciding to do that could end up in a massive life altercating issue or problem, right? Or, you not going to the gym every single day is a very small decision, but like you just said, is a massive deal, right? Because it's going to end with a massive result. You not joining that industry, you not joining that business, you not going all in is a small decision, but it's going to lead to a massive result. What are your thoughts on just decisions?
Yeah, my favorite quote is, it's in moments of decisions that your destiny is determined. I got that one from Tony Robbins. And your life will be a direct reflection of the decisions you make on a daily basis. We're all living the life that we chose. And for those of us that are fortunate enough to be in sales, the highest paid profession on earth, right? The highest paid, hardest working profession on earth, also the lowest paid, easiest working profession on earth. A lot of the times our lives are 60 to 90 days, are reflecting 60 to 90 days of previous decisions. And so that's a philosophy that you can adopt. It'll help you take accountability for where you're at. Once you do that, you're able to climb. And as long as you know that you're in control of your life and the results, and you can start making decisions that are going to pay off 60, 90 days from now, you're going to start winning. After that, you're going to make decisions that may pay off a year or two later. And then super successful people that we look up to, not only have they decided to commit to one industry, they're still working with the same people, but they make decisions that are like 10 years out. And I really look up to that, because I'm like, man, you guys have so much mental fortitude and discipline and patience and delayed gratification.
Yeah.
And so that's a decision that I've decided to make in beginning of 2023, when I was doing my goals on the beach in Cabo for the new year. A big one was going to plan further out and practice more delayed gratification. You know, the bigger the goal, the bigger the sacrifice.
Sure.
And discipline is at the helm of all of that. And we know that discipline weighs ounces and regret weighs tons. We all have a purpose. We all have like great things to offer the world and the marketplace. And a lot of us aren't living up to that. When I was on my housing in 2018, because I gave up on entrepreneurship, I wasn't living up to what I could do. And I knew that. And that's the worst feeling ever. So when you decide to try, even though it's scary because you're going to fail 100 times, 1,000 times before actually getting your stride, if you're really trying, you're going to start feeling better than ever. So making that decision to go all in with something and to double down in the valleys versus just chasing the next peak, making that decision to live a life a certain way, you can look at yourself in the mirror and you're like, you know, you're mentally, you already committed. The results don't matter, right? Marry the process, divorce the outcome. Even though the results aren't there, you're like, you decided to start climbing uphill and you no longer have those downhill habits, right? And so you're like climbing your own ladder of success. You know, the view is so much nicer at the top. And even though in the beginning it's so hard, just like if you started working out, everybody loves working out when they've been consistent for 90 days because it feels good. But nobody likes working out their first 2, 3, 4 weeks in the gym, doing legs, they're sore, they can't even walk. And so what do? Are you going to go all in and stay the course? Or are you going to keep starting over? You know, the 99% of people in your life, you're going to see repeat the same year over and over again, right? It's not because you're in sales for 20, 30 years that you become a multi-millionaire, right? Most people end up being in sales for 20, 30 years. They're not millionaires. They keep repeating the same year over and over again. They keep hopping from opportunity to opportunity. They want there to be something better. They want somebody to come out and just like help them be successful. They're looking for an out every second they can. And they're looking for, you know, what they can get, what they can, in any situation right then and there. They need to know before they act. And, you know, if I could suggest anything, it would be to decide to identify as a leader. Your life is a direct reflection of your identity. How can you decide to identify as a leader and to start acting and thinking like one so that you take full accountability for your life and your results? You decide to become more inspirational. You decide to let your actions do the talking. And all of a sudden, you see all these things in your life start to change and improve.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Edmund. For all of you that enjoyed this episode, make sure and smash the thumbs up button on this YouTube video. Show some love on Apple, iTunes, Spotify, podcasts, the whole nine. You know what I mean? Drop in the comment section down below what your guys' thoughts are, what your guys' biggest takeaway was. And if you guys haven't already, got yourself some Kumquat. And since he said it, it is on Amazon. The link will be in the description below. And no, I won't have an affiliate link. Just get yourself some Kumquat. Anyways, I'm going to go order that right now. For those of you that want to follow Mr. Edmund on Instagram, his link will also be in the description below. If you guys are some sales guys and you guys got, you know what I mean? You got a little, you know, pep in your step, then, and you want to join Kumquat, then you guys now know a reliable and incredible solar company to potentially get involved with. Now, if you say you're coming from Austin's channel or from Austin's podcast, that is not a guarantee that he will add you onto the team. That might just give you a little bit more credibility, but that does not mean that it's going to make it happen. Ladies and gentlemen, Edmund, dude, thank you so much for coming on the pod. I massively appreciate you getting you for 53 minutes, man. Much love. Continue with the success. Love watching it. And when I'm in Vegas next, we'll do a pod right there in your living room if you're down.
Let's go. I look forward to it. Thanks, Austin.
My guy, I appreciate you, bro.